brothers talking, let the journey embark. Two brothers talking loud and clear, breaking the silence, no fear in here. Baseline thumping, hearts draw near. Faith and beats, yeah, we're riding the wave. Truth in the rhythm like a stone from the grave. From the wood to the mic, we're paving the way. Two brothers talking, yeah, we're walking the walk. Faith on the beat, real talk, no chalk. Bounce to the truth, let the speakers unlock. Two voices, one mission to spark. Light in the dark like a flame in the park. Two brothers talking, let the journey embark. Two brothers talking loud and clear, breaking the silence, no fear in here. Baseline thumping, hearts draw near. Faith and beats, yeah, we're riding the wave. Truth in the rhythm like a stone from the grave. From the wood to the mic, we're paving the way. Two brothers talking, yeah, we're walking the walk. Faith on the beat, real talk, no chalk. Bounce to the truth, let the speakers unlock. Two voices, one mission to spark. Light in the dark like a flame in the park. Two brothers talking, let the journey embark.
All right, test. I think we got audio. There we go. I'll kill the DJ.
Kill him.
Don't kill him. Don't kill him.
Send him home for a little bit.
I send him home. I didn't kill him. All right. I think we are all set. Cool. Good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Doing well. Thankful to be here. I'm thankful that two brothers can talk today.
As usual.
So we got the, I guess, fourth episode of a series that we're gonna keep on. We're gonna start on time and jump right on in for anybody who winds up joining and watching or watching this later. We are two brothers talking, and we're thankful that you have a chance to take a look and listen, and we hope that it blesses you.
Yep.
So
it will.
We claim that.
Yep.
So we've been talking about the power of the family unit, and that's the series. We've hit the family unit importance. That was kind of episode 1, the kickoff of it. We did the father factor. We kind of did the mother factor last episode. And today we're kind of tying those together a little bit, and then indirectly bringing the children into it as well by looking at it from a different lens, which is dysfunction and dollars. And that's how family instability shapes the emotional and economic challenges and outcomes that some of us all experience as families and different types of families. So we're going to dive right in. We usually kind of frame these up. We'll keep our normal rhythm of how we do that. And that usually starts with like a couple of data points and just grounding ourselves in some information. And then we'll get into some of the questions and thoughts and kind of walk through it. So
let's do it.
So I think like some of when I was preparing for this and as we were preparing for it, like there were some interesting data points. There was more information than I was prepared to consume. I don't think any of the topics that we've talked about so far had so much actual like fact base behind it. But there's a lot of fact base behind it. And some of those facts I honestly didn't want to accept. Like they were not all pleasant. But that's where change starts. Right? Change starts with accepting what's true factually, honoring the context behind it as well. There's always color behind the facts, but accepting it nevertheless, and then doing something about it. Right. So a couple of those facts that really caught my attention that I chose to highlight here. One of them is kind of ties a little bit into one of the facts from the mother factor episode, which is single mother households face significantly higher economic vulnerability than married couple households. So to clarify what that means, that doesn't mean single mother households who do or don't have like engaged fathers, with their children. Like that doesn't really matter. It's just single mother households. It doesn't matter how engaged the father is. There is some impact to how vulnerable that household is to economic challenge.
Gotcha.
Factually, like it's not opinion, it's just fact, right? And that's determined maybe just to get a little bit more, because we try to get as granular as possible, so the facts have credibility. To get a little more granular, we're talking about like average household income. We're talking about average household spend. We're talking about financial literacy. We're talking about generational impacts, like generational wealth and savings and things like that, like investment decisions, spend decisions, ownership of assets. Like we're talking about all of those things. Those are the areas of vulnerability.
Right.
Meaning that if something happens, there is one person making an income who everything relies on, and in that scenario, that's a high risk scenario by default. Is one.
Right.
It's the literal definition of all your eggs in one basket.
Yeah.
Right. So just in case anybody needed some clarity on that. Another factor was children in unstable homes, which could be, now this could actually be like a married couple home that's unstable.
Okay.
Or a single parent home, mother or father.
How are we defining unstable?
So I think we'll define it here. So the children in more unstable homes experience more behavioral challenges, academic struggles, and emotional stress that ultimately leads to mental health challenges as adults.
Okay.
And the unstable component because there was a white paper behind it, with the whole like table of data. The unstable component that I recall, the factors were they were like economic stability. So do they have consistent financial stability? Do they, and not wealth, just stability. Like we're not talking about anybody being rich. Like 99% of us are not rich. Like we aren't. So like we're just talking about being able to take care of business. Right. And provide. So that's one piece, financial. The other unstable element is the relationship between the parents. So whether it's in the home or and they're separated, and not in the home, like either way, if it was not kosher, like if they couldn't work together, right, that was considered unstable and it put pressure on the child. And then there was a third component, which was like the mental health of the parents. Okay. So the mental health of the parents in the home, which kind of ties into, it brings this whole thing full circle, which right, is like if the parents experience something that was unstable, or they experienced a single parent home that went through some of the more extreme trials, then that left them imprinted with some of those things, which carried down, if they didn't know how, if they never dealt with that carried down to the kid, and it'll carry down to their kid. And right, and to some degree, like you and I can speak to that in different ways personally too. Like I know for sure I can. So that was one piece. And then the last fact that I thought, or position that I thought was interesting, was, from a family instability perspective, the other components could be divorce, it could be cohabitation challenges, single parenting, that correlates to higher stress, lower income, and more household transitions, right? Where children might not feel like for instance, I'll use a personal example. Early on, my kids were young when they came into my life, right, but they are my stepchildren. And they're, as far as I'm concerned, they're mine, right? So they have been for as long as I can remember. But they do have a biological father, right? And there were some challenges when my wife and him got a divorce, and ultimately, like, we wound up getting together, and then the kids started to look at me as dad. Over time, that was, if that's not handled well, those transitions, like they scar kids, man. Like they scar them, and usually the parents are focused on themselves. Yeah. They would like to think I think most parents would like to think they're focused on kids. I do believe that, but the truth is we're so narcissistic and selfish that it's hard for us to really actually do that. Right. So we kind of focus on ourselves through the kids. It's still about us. And it's like, it doesn't matter if it's uncomfortable for you or not. If it's really about the kids, it's about the kids. Like, make it about the kids. And I think that's some of those household transition challenges that the data was referring to.
Yeah. Well, and speaking to what you're just saying, I think it's like on an airplane, If the plane goes down, put your mask on first.
Yeah.
I think we naturally self-preservation. Man, let me get myself stable. You're worried about your kids, but like ultimately, you do come first to some degree, so that you can function well enough to make sure your child is taken care of.
That is the key you just said. So if your priority is to make sure you can function for your child,
Yeah,
that's going to show up different in your actions than if your priority is to make sure you feel good.
I agree with that. That's kind of the difference between the person who, hey, my mental well-being, I need to go to the club and kick it,
Yeah.
and have a good time, as opposed to, hey, let me go to counseling, let me go to therapy, let me get my mindset right. Let me, it is a big difference. I agree. Totally agree.
That's right. That's right. So those are some facts. A little bit about like income and income or economic vulnerability in single parent households, particularly single mother households, because that's more common. I mean, moms are carrying a lot of weight. Like that's just period. Nobody can deny that. The family instability piece. Hopefully, that second part kind of further address the instability, the unstable component. Divorce, cohabitation challenges, single parenting, transitions. All equates to some higher stress, lower income, and emotional stress, academic struggles for kids, behavioral challenges, and then those are ultimately like the economic strains are one of the economic strains in this whole equation. They're one of the top predictors, factually, of family conflict and breakdown.
Okay.
So
when money ain't right, everybody struggles.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I guess just having been financially strapped most of my life, I would say that the money itself, like, wasn't the problem. It was how we dealt with it. It was like whether it was watching my mom and dad poorly deal with money, because they definitely poorly dealt with money, and to the degree where me and my dad can laugh about it now, but like they terribly dealt with money.
Right.
They couldn't get on the same page.
Right.
They both had their own opinions. They were operating with two different mindsets, and they could not become one.
Right.
Like it just couldn't become one. Just two stubborn people. Right. And I don't think that's abnormal. I think that's the usual. Like we're stubborn, and it does take some humility and some love and grace to like just kind of humble yourself and just do what's best, not who's right.
Right.
It's just what's best.
Right.
And that might mean you're wrong. It doesn't matter. This is, and I think it's hard for people to get to that place. It was definitely hard for me and my wife to get to that place over time, and we eventually got there. But like that's the struggle, and it was times where we didn't have jack. Like we were 5 people with our kids in a 2-bedroom duplex, and we were smiling because we thought like that, like we were happy just to be together.
Right.
And we didn't have 2 pennies to rub together, and that's like it was what it was. And then fast forward, I felt like once money didn't drive our happiness so directly, then and we were owning that, things changed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it really changed. But we went through a whole lot of understanding to get there.
Yeah.
Like God brought us a long way to get there.
I think doing what's best usually means balance, where you are considering both people. I think when a group can get together and have balance, where like even if I'm the leader, I consider the input of those who are right there beside me. When you can get to that point of balance, I think that's the healthiest place to be. And I think that's the hardest place to get.
It is.
Because like you come in as individuals who do things a certain way. You come in as 2 individuals who don't, you're probably similar in many ways, but you're different in a lot of ways. And so it's like coming together to be one is it's a journey. It's definitely a journey. Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. And it continues to be one. Like, like we haven't, I won't say we figured it all out at all. But we've to your point, like we're further along on the journey than we were.
Yeah. Same here.
So I guess a couple of thought-provoking questions that we'll get some thoughts on after the session too from the audience. But I'd love for you to weigh in on it. One, like what does dysfunction look like? In this context, dysfunction and dollars and how they go together. What does dysfunction look like before it becomes so obvious to people? Like it doesn't always show up as like terrible circumstances. This person's abusive or or this person stole all the money and gambled it away. Like those things happen,
Right.
but they're not the huge. You know what I mean? There are less obvious dysfunctional examples. So like whether it's been in your personal life or things you've seen or people you've counseled, like what are some of the examples of times that might help somebody be more aware of when dysfunction is there, but it's not so obvious?
Yeah, I think when I think about dysfunction, it's like, how do you function when life hits?
Yeah.
When stress.
Yeah.
Because I think we all have, life hits everybody. Nobody has a perfect life.
Life be life.
Life be life.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you function in those moments? So it's like, it's kind of a self-awareness thing. Like, do I go to eating? Do I go to spending? Do I go to shopping? Do I go to isolation? Like, I think when we function in extremes, I think that's when you introduce dysfunction. When you function in isolation, when you function in extremes, I think that's when you start to get into dysfunction, and that's when things like gradually begin to go down this spiral, if you will. And so I think when you can recognize imbalance in your own life, I think you'll kind of see the warning signs of the arrival of dysfunction. I think that's how I would say it.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think like one, how you what you're showing up with before like let's look at a stressful situation as a storm.
Okay.
Storms come and go.
Yep.
But when they're there. Like you can feel them. The lightning's scary, the rain is torrential, the winds are heavy, they stop you, they seem to always blow against the direction you're walking.
Right.
So like it just works against you. It makes you feel that way. And storms are real. Nobody can tell you like, oh, it's fine. Like just smile through the storm. Like, well, no, they're real.
Yeah.
And you should accept that.
Right.
And that's okay. It's okay to acknowledge the rain. How you showed up before the storm, though, is like, to me, it's the starting point of whether you're going to fail or not.
Yeah.
If you went to that storm already doing two things, you are screwed. If you went to the storm, number one, dreading the storm, anticipating it, anxious, scared, and the storm ain't even hit yet, you're toast. It's a wrap. Like it's already beat you. It ain't even came there. It ain't even hit you yet, and you're already giving into it. And then the second, if you're reeling from the last storm and you're holding on to all of that, like you bring those two things up against the storm to come, it's gonna be real hard.
Right.
And that storm, just to turn that into something real, that storm could be your last marriage. It could be the last interaction you have with your child, a discussion you have with your mom. Like it could be anything. And if you're dreading the next one,
right,
and you're reeling from the last one, it's a wrap. So like before you're in the storm, you got to check. You said self-awareness. I think you said it just right. Like you got to check where you are at the door before that storm and make sure you're prepared. You got your poncho on? Are you ready?
Right.
Do you have shoes that are waterproof? Like, are you prepared to walk through that heavy wind? It's gonna push against you. Are you prepared not to overreact to the lightning? To just know it's just lightning. Like if you really believe God got you, like just apply that faith.
Yeah.
Apply that faith, and it may startle you sometimes, but when you done been through enough storms, at some point you're not acting in your 10th storm like you acted in your first. Like at some point, how much he got to do to show you he's there, like protecting you. Like at some point, how much proof you need.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be so brand new anymore.
Right.
And sometimes we are. And I think it's just because we don't take the time between the storms to like reflect and get ready and recover from that last one, accept what happened there, deal with that and process it. We just kind of bury it. And we tell everybody we're good, and the next storm comes, and we're like, oh God, and you just get run over, like you just get drugged, and it's like it doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah, I think storms, the fire, trials, they expose.
Mm-hmm.
And so a perfect example here in Dallas, when we went to that first storm, I remember what year it was, where it iced over and everything, shut everything down.
Yep.
So when I went through that, I was like, oh man, we weren't ready for that. So I went out and got a generator, all these different things. So the storm we just had recently, I didn't need any of it.
Right. But
I was ready. I was prepared. So I think like what you're talking about is like, hey, if you go through something, number one, it's going to expose some things. If you don't do anything with that information, you're just deceiving yourself. And so if you find yourself going through storms and you're just repeating the same cycle, never growing, never maturing, never adjusting how you live or how you respond to things, then it's like that's a tall tale sign of dysfunction. You're operating in dysfunction because it's like you're never progressing in life, and that's gotta be honest with yourself. That's self-awareness.
That's right. And, so, and applying that to like this, the way that this shows up in a family unit, we're using some analogies to help paint the picture and help create understanding.
Right.
But just for those who watch now or might watch later, like this, what we're saying is a direct parallel to conversations you have between you and your significant other. Whether y'all are together or not, doesn't matter. Like conversations y'all have, and ability to navigate storms together, the storms that you have to navigate together, which you're going to relate to your child, and the storms you have to navigate with your child. Like navigating storms with a child is a very unique situation.
Right.
They're not your friend, they're not your spouse, they're not a sister or a brother. That's your child. It's a very unique relationship, and how you navigate, like probably the most influence you have as the thermometer of the weather is with your child. Like as you go, they go. Right. They see you overreact to the weather and the temperature, they're gonna just do the same. Like and not only will they do the same in the moment with you, they're gonna do the same in financial stress or emotional stress when you're not around. They'll think that's the norm.
Right.
And they'll grow up to do it only at best as good as you do.
Yeah.
And that's a dangerous paradigm. Like as a parent, all of us should really reflect on that, because if we don't change how our kids see us deal with storms with them and with our significant other or in our home or in ourselves, we're teaching them by example. And where else do they see that? Like, you don't want them learning how to deal with storms on TikTok. Like, you know what I mean? You can find a lot of good things on TikTok. I'm not dogging anything, but like, you don't want them learning how to deal with stressful situations or manage money or deal with their significant other or deal with friend relationships and tough situations on YouTube. Like, you want them learning from somebody who loves them.
Yeah. And I think people have to acknowledge that most of the time kids model not what you tell them, they model what they see. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think like if you can teach your kid with words, but the reality is like what's gonna probably stick is like what they're watching. So to the degree that I can function in a place where I'm mature, I know how to handle storms, they don't see me shaking when bad things happen. To the degree that I model that for them will be to the degree that I impact the next generation, specifically our children.
Right.
So I think modeling is very important. Yeah.
Right. And easier said than done. So if you don't know how to model, then you potentially may need to seek out a model so that you can become a model.
Yeah.
Right. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I think about that in the form of a mentor or therapy, like all those tools, and they're powerful. So just shameless plug. Like if you haven't pursued any of those tools, therapy is a great tool. I've said this a couple times in different episodes, different contexts, but I'll say it here. If you have a job, your job probably has, and I don't care where you work, it doesn't matter. A lot of employers, they have EAP programs, employee assistance programs, and they offer different therapy options. And employers were usually terrible at promoting this stuff. Like we put it in some email or something and people miss it. Yeah. But like, don't be so prideful that if you look at your home and it is not all the things you could dream of, go get some therapy, because it might be right on the other side of those appointments. So,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. No, I had a question as you were talking. Mm-hmm. So when people hear therapy, they think money. So I appreciate you mentioning like most employers offer this. Yeah. But what is therapy? What are they bringing to the table that's so beneficial?
During those sessions and stuff?
Yeah. What's the purpose?
So I think the number one purpose is to help you see what you're unwilling to see. So they're not bringing, like, the first thing they bring, and this is my experience, and I'm practicing what I preach. I've been doing therapy for years now, but like, and it took some humility to do it. I won't lie. But the number one thing they're bringing is not like solving your problem. That's not their job. Your job, your problems are yours to solve with God. And God will sometimes bring people in front of you so that you can really clearly understand what the problem is in the first place. And if you don't understand that, you're solving the wrong thing.
Right.
Or you may think it's a smaller problem than it is, and it's going to show up later big.
Yeah.
And to me, that's that's the direct answer. A therapist brings a microscope and a magnifying glass and a spotlight, and they help you understand these things that are troubling you,
yeah.
or understand that something is troubling you and you aren't clear it is.
Yeah.
And once they help you understand that, believe it or not, you have a lot of the answers to those solutions inside of you already. You just have to take the time to develop the self-awareness and the understanding of the issues themselves. And then they'll guide you through those. Step two, they guide you through like the solutioning process.
Yeah.
And all they're doing is offering, like street lights and street signs. It's all in you. Like the whole map of how to get there is inside of you. But sometimes you need it's dark and you need some guideposts and some street signs and turn here and go here and don't go down there. You're not gonna find anything constructive down there. Like go here, like that's all you need. But it's all you though, and I think that's probably something important that maybe I know I didn't understand that coming into therapy, because I was definitely looking for a silver bullet. I'm like,
Yeah.
You solve me. Like, so I don't know what I'm doing. Solve me.
Right.
And they were like, nah, that's not my job.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you some tools. You solve you.
Yeah.
Because when I'm not here, you need to be able to solve you. And you can't go to therapy till you're 90. Like you need to have the tools yourself.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is the end game you walk away with, is the map, the lights, the signs, and the tools.
Yeah. I think at the end of the day, that's the hardest. That's the piece that is hard for us as humans, is that self-awareness, is that like, what's really happening? What's wrong here?
Mm-hmm.
And then do I have enough courage to go do the hard thing to resolve whatever the problem is? I think this is where dysfunction comes in. I'd rather function in dysfunction because I'm comfortable, even though it may be painful at times. It's not as painful as what I'm gonna go through to make these changes to be a better person. And so I think, like, for some, therapy is great. For some, it might be just simply picking up the word of God and it becoming more than just religion. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, how do I need, what do I need to change in my life? A lot of people, we go and we hear sermons, we talk to therapists, but if you don't do anything with the information, you're just wasting time and money,
Right.
So.
Right. I'll throw one last point on that, and then we're going to kind of shift into the economic side of this equation too. So like, well, yeah, I'm over filtering it in my head, and I'm not going to. We talked about that. I'm not going to do that. So all of us are, no matter what background you are, ethnicity you are, we are terrible. The data says we're terrible at going to the doctor to see about our bodies.
Uh-huh.
Okay, we are worse at seeing about our mental health with a doctor or a therapist.
Okay.
Right. When your leg is hurting, you will go see a doctor.
Right.
When it gets bad enough.
Yeah, when it gets bad enough.
When your heart is hurting, you won't go see anybody because you're too prideful.
Yeah.
And especially Black people, we are notorious for not doing that.
Yeah.
Like for not taking care of ourselves. And I just want to put that out there. Like, however you treat your body, you reflect on the last time you knew you should have gone to the doctor physically for something. You are worse at taking care of your mental. So if you know that, and it's factual, like, but if the data says you can find countless numbers of reports and results of how we don't take care of ourselves. Take care of yourself.
Right.
I just want to encourage that, like, just take care of yourself. Like we all, it doesn't matter who you are, it doesn't matter what color you are, what gender you are, like where you live, just take care of yourself. And if you are you're a part of a group like me and you are, who are notoriously, bad at taking care of ourselves, I'm leaning in on you particularly, like, do it, because you're gonna have to break that curse. Like, you're just gonna have to break through that wall and get over yourself and like go do it. And from a personal testimony, there's very few decisions other than marrying my wife. And finding Jesus myself, there are very few decisions I've made that help me more than letting somebody come in and give me some street signs and some directions and tools. So like, get some therapy. If you got to pay for it, pay for it. Like, don't let money stop you. Don't let a couple bucks, or a couple of pennies stop you from getting to the dollars, because at the end of the day, like, getting past that will open you up and make you a better you. And your best you will get you a better financial stability than your worst you.
Mm.
So period. So like, just go do that. All right, I'm done. All right. So, so there you go. All right. So shifting a little bit into, actually, it's a good segue into the economic side. So like
Okay.
the economic ripple effect of that dysfunction. How does, in your opinion, how does money stress, right? How does money stress change the way that you've seen people communicate in the family? Like now this could be taken into like the immediate family in the house. It could be even extended family if you have some thoughts on that too, like outside of the house, right? So how have you seen that? How have you seen money stress impact the function or dysfunction of family?
Yeah, I think in general, it puts if it's a marriage we're speaking about, it puts a strain on a marriage just in general because like it says like it may say we're not safe,
Mm,
we're we're in danger, we may not make it. And then when you talk about when you bring kids into the equation, then it's like, okay, so if I value education, to what degree does finances play into that? Because it's like, okay, well, what if I live in a certain neighborhood and I'd rather send them to a private school,
mhm.
or I'd rather send them somewhere else? Like, oh, but we can't afford it. Or hey, I got to get to work, but I don't have a car. I can't put gas in the car. My kid's coming home. He needs to study, but he's hungry. Like so, it's like a domino effect. So it's like when you're struggling financially, it just contributes to dysfunction in general. And so, we at the end of the day, we have to learn how to deal with the stress that life brings because even people who have good paying jobs struggle with money.
Mhm.
So it's like it speaks to like money, like how do we view money in general? How do we handle like when life comes at us with stress? Like how are we going to deal with that? And a lot of people we end up going to extremes to either deal with it or ultimately not to deal with it. And it just adds more weight to the problems that we have in a home. And eventually, like when there's too much pressure, when there's too much stress, things just start to crack a little bit. It's like you're putting too much water, you're putting too something in a vessel, and it's already got a little crack in it. That pressure just makes that crack bigger and bigger. And so that's how I see it impacting families and impacting relationships in general.
Yeah, and to like take that and then go outside the family, outside of the immediate family.
Right.
I've seen it with we've talked about this personally with like deaths in the family and what that does when money comes, like it actually, like, so all that pressure day to day puts a whole lot of pressure when large sums of money are involved. So like somebody passes away and now there's some asset or some money or a house or car or something, and now like there's so much desperacy day to day, it just reveals all this pressure, and everybody comes like sharks and with chum in the water, and it's like I know my family has had straight up fallouts about stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's really stupid. It's really stupid because I would really hope that if we had a magic wand, we would all just wish that person back if they weren't suffering. Like
Yeah.
just wish them back healthy,
Right.
and we would just wish them back here, and we wouldn't care about no money.
Right.
But frankly, I'm not convinced that's true.
Right.
With some of these scenarios. So, and just a few that I've been through. So like I think that's another place where like stress, where money stress shows up and creates this dysfunction when we let it, because we make money more important than anything else, and it's like you do realize you have been making money and mismanaging it. So if I put more money in your hand, you're going to mismanage it. And I've watched that happen.
Oh, yeah.
I've watched the family get upset, win, get the money, and then they broke again. And I'm like, you thought the money was the problem?
Right.
No, you were the problem. Like that's I think that's hard for us to accept. Like, no, you're the problem.
Yeah.
I was looking around. I was listening to you while you were talking about it. I looked back because I was trying to grab something, but I'll remember it. I wanted to write it down. One of the things I will commit to sharing as a follow on to this is a automated budget. It's not an app. It's not any of that stuff. It's not something you got to pay for. It just hope it blesses somebody. I've been using it for a long time. I've kind of honed it into a little tool. I'll share a template of it, and you can use that to get better at managing money.
Right.
And it really helped me. And so when you said something that triggered that thought, and I thought, man, a lot of it's just financial literacy. Like we just don't
Right.
know.
Right.
And it took me years to figure that out. So I'm gonna commit to sharing that after we wrap up.
Let me add this to our conversation. Recently the government released all these files, Epstein files. We're not going to go into that, but the one thing that stood out to me.
Into it. You brought it up. Nah.
But the issue is, what it exposes? It shows you that like the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yeah.
That was my biggest takeaway. Not Republican, Democrat. It's not black, white. It's people who want power, control, money at any cost. And I think at the end of the day, we have to be careful how we look at money. Whether you're poor or rich, it's like money becomes a god. You can't serve God and mammon. You can't serve God and money. And so I think like for us as a nation, especially in America, it's like we see money as like, man, this is gonna be true happiness. This is gonna be true freedom. It's like now I'm in control. I can do whatever I want to do. And so I think at the heart of some of this is like how we look at money in general, rich, poor, like it's just to become your God. So that when somebody does pass away, man, I'm gonna do anything to get to that money. What did they leave me? You don't even care about the person, that what they meant to you, the memories. It's like, what did I get when they passed? And so I think like, man, as a nation, our mindset has elevated money so much that it literally gets all of our attention. So much so that it begins to stress our families. It could be we don't have it, or it could be like, hey, why did you buy something at Sonic last week? You broke our budget, or you broke the budget because you're poor and you just don't care. Like now it's like I just want to enjoy life.
Yeah.
And so it goes both ways, but it's like ultimately for me, like it speaks to like I don't know how to say it. There's something wrong in here that's causing me to spend money or not spend money the way that I'm doing. And until we deal with that, whether it's therapy, whether it's getting in the word of God, whether it's like whatever it needs to take place, I think ultimately like we end up being the problem. Whether you have a lot of money or whether you have no money, it's like how are you looking at money?
Yeah. And you know what the proof of that is?
What's that?
The proof of that is the amount of money it takes to have for anyone to just do what they want and not worry about money is so astronomical. Like people are getting their hands on $1 million and it's not enough.
Yeah.
Do you remember a time where you thought in your head years ago, like if I had $1 million, I would be done, like financially? You couldn't do that today based on how the normal person spends money. You couldn't do that. But the truth is, if you spent money and managed money abnormally, like very well, you can do that. With kids, you could totally do it. It's just you need to accept that like there's no scenario that doesn't require self-discipline. There's no scenario that doesn't hold you accountable for what you spend. And money has a way of doing that because it will leave you as fast as you got it. Faster. Faster. It's a lot harder to make it than it is to lose it. And I think that is the proof of like there's some dysfunction between us and money. Because like the number you would need, there's people getting $10 million and it's still not enough. And it's like, how you read about them, how are you broke? Or how are you like now in financial stress? And yes, money, a lot of money does bring some stresses with it. But there's a management around it. Like it's all about management. It's all about management. And it starts to your point, it's in you, like it starts with self-management. Money, food, whatever your vice is, it's self-management. Like it's all in you. I guess maybe to round it out, just in the spirit of being accountable to time. When we think about how men and women respond differently to that financial pressure, I think that ties a lot of just making this point. Feel free to weigh in on this. Like it ties a lot back into what we talked about in the mother factor and the father factor. Individually, like men and women do deal with those stresses differently. Money stresses. I think especially single parent homes, like single mother homes, like that is a particularly high amount of stress on those households. And what I found is a lot of kids are finding themselves having to contribute to the home earlier financially and they're not like working so they can buy shoes. They're working so that they can pay the electric bills.
Right.
Like, you know, at 14, 15, 16.
Right.
So some maybe this will bless somebody, like having been one of those kids, because I've worked full time 40 plus hours a week since the day I turned 14. I was getting paid cash under the table. I won't say where, because they'll probably, well, hopefully it's past the statute of limitations by now. so but I ain't gonna say it. But so they were paying me under the table cash, and I had to work. I didn't use that money to go like buy stuff.
Right.
I used that money to pay the car note and the rent, you know, and I was managing my mom's budget at 14.
Right.
So like I had to. But let me tell you, parents, that if you have a child that is capable of doing that, don't not let them do it out of pride. God may have put that child in that house for you and with you so that they can grow and mature. I'm not saying put all the stresses of adulthood on them, but like you might have a blessing on your hands. And it took my mom probably a year, maybe a year and a half, to really understand that. Like, she saw that, oh, he can, because my mom was terrible with money.
Uh-huh.
And she was great at other things, like great. You can't teach in Central Dallas for 32 years and not be great at something. Like, she
Right.
was great.
Yep.
At a lot of things. She was terrible with money. And I like math. So like I was good with money from a mathematical perspective.
Uh-huh.
And I found it interesting. So I wanted to help. And I didn't like see my mom stress.
Yeah.
A lot of your kids don't want to see you stress.
Yep.
Dad or mom. And even if you're in a household with two of you and both of you are not good with money, but your teenage or 20-year-old is, bring them in. Don't keep the stress from them.
Yep.
Let them contribute. Let not just financially, let them contribute in planning. Let them look at your financials and give their suggestions. Right. You might actually get something out of that.
Yeah.
Like, there might be a blessing that brings all of y'all together. It's more than just the money. Yeah, that might fix some money problems. Great. But it'll bring y'all together.
Right.
And I think that was one blessing. And I talk about that to my wife and other people, and they're like, dang, you had to do all that when you were 14? Like, I was chilling.
Yep.
You know, I was worried, trying to figure out what party I was going to.
Right.
And I had to quit playing sports because I was working so much. Like it's not that I would have gone that far in sports, but I had to quit playing sports. But still.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you might have a blessing there. And I just want to encourage parents to don't exclude them because you don't want them to go through any kind of stress. Like that is strength building, character building stress. And it may be a blessing for you.
Yep. I think a lot of times, I mean, if you look at just people's stories, things that they experience, I mean, for some, it becomes a negative, but for a lot of young people, watching their parents struggle and being a part of the struggle, it motivates, it drives a young person to like do better in life. And that's not a bad thing. Like, sometimes we try to shield, I mean, rightfully so, but sometimes we don't realize how much we're shaped in adversity and trials and the fire. And it's not always a bad thing. Like, a lot of times it's the greatest molder of lives is like hard times and struggle. So yeah, like I said, I agree with you. Like, don't use wisdom and discernment in like what you're shielding your kids from when it comes to seeing you struggle, seeing hard times. Because at the end of the day, I knew our family struggled financially. Mm-hmm. Parents didn't come tell us it. We didn't talk about it, but you just see it. Mm-hmm. So to like let your kids know, hey, we can't buy you the new Jordans, but hey, you want to go you want to go throw paper? We don't throw paper anymore. If you want to do something to help contribute so you can buy your own Jordans to be a part of the solution, that's a good thing. I see that definitely as a positive thing.
Well, you aged us real good.
I did. I said throw paper. I used to throw paper.
People think they got something to do with drugs or something.
Throw paper. Somebody's Googling right now. Throw paper. Just throw paper.
And we're gonna let y'all Google it too.
Yep, go ahead.
So that's right. So hopefully this conversation has blessed somebody and will bless somebody.
Yep.
I guess to kind of round this out, one statement that I felt compelled to share after like all the planning is as follows: it's dysfunction isn't destiny, it's a pattern, and patterns are made to be broken. Like you can break it, and it's not we're doing exactly what, like, we're kind of practicing what we preach, so to speak. Like we said that part of the first step is just acknowledging what the problem is, and that's what a therapist will help you do. That's what people that care about you will help you do too. So that's what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to be negative. We're trying to help you hone in on like, where is the opportunity? What's the real issue I have, and where is it that I can be better and get a better experience also in life. And we hope that this helps to do that. We will follow up with I'll post that budget file, and you guys can download it to your heart's content. But feel free to download it in your own, and put in your information in it, and you can even chat at us on any channel, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, or Facebook, or Twitch or Snitch or everything else we on. So
Right.
so you just hit us up, and I'm glad to give you some pointers on it if you need it. But yeah, y'all have a blessed weekend. Thank you, Mark, for your contribution. I'm glad that we have a good partnership too. I just wanted to say that out loud. And y'all have a blessed one. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.